This is video number 8 in the Prevent Child Abuse series. I discovered a story in the Washington Post about an Alaskan man who revealed a secret in his suicide message that sparked a small town's Me Too moment. The article was written by Washington Post reporter Kyle Swenson. Help prevent child abuse, not just in April, but all year long. Rick Martin, a 60-year-old man from Haines, Alaska, used his last words to share a painful secret. He was suffering from an incurable liver disease, but before he took his own life in March, Martin recorded videos on his cell phone. In one clip, he claimed he had been sexually abused decades earlier by local luminary Carl Ward. No one suspected that Carl Ward was a predator. Ward worked in the town's school system, rising from teacher to superintendent, until his retirement in 1976. His presence still clung to this small fishing town, 80 miles northwest of Juneau, even though he had been dead since the 1990s. Martin said in his message, "I had to keep my mouth shut about that." After Martin's final message, 4 other former students came forward with their own stories about alleged misconduct by Ward. A town with fewer than 2,000 residents was forced to confront a possible pattern of sexual exploitation by an eminent authority figure. Abusers can come from any walk of life. As for Ward, he arrived in Haines in 1947 when he worked for the National Missions of the Presbyterian Church. He began teaching at Haines High School in 1954, rose to principal in 1957, and then superintendent in 1967. He also served as a Boy Scout leader, fostered 4 boys, and even worked as a scorekeeper with the local youth basketball team. He died in 1997. And now the truth has come out, so many years later. The Chilkat Valley News began tracking down former students to corroborate the abuse after learning his allegations were on a video. Eventually, 4 former students agreed to talk about Ward's advances publicly. They told remarkably similar stories. Ward invited students over to his house, gave them alcohol, and touched them. One former student said, "I should have said something 30 or 40 years ago. Whoever's been suffering, we don't know what their life would have been like if we had said something." Carl Ward's abusive nature finally became public. Rick's wife had become the high school principal after Ward. She said, "Rick told me that it really bothered him to go by the Carl Ward plaque because he knew that Carl Ward was just a real creepy guy." I said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And at that time, he told me that Carl Ward had tried to grab his penis, and he ran away and went and told his dad, who was Native American. His dad was like, "Okay, you're not really hurt. We're Native, and he's the white superintendent, so, we just have to move on." Borough manager Deborah Schnabel explained to station KHNS, "That's one of the things that's so right about Renee Martin being willing to come forward. It's not to make a sensational story, but it's to tell people this one person's story. And if it's happened to you, then it's our story." The outcome in this case, the gym sign honoring Ward at the high school, the same sign that reminded Rick Martin about his alleged abuse decades ago, has been taken down. We had to take it down for me to be able to go back to school, quite honestly, his widow told KHNS. According to a facility nurse, Ward's widow, who is in assisted living, is in shock, and she's in mourning for the life she thought she had. I'm Morgan St. James, and I made a commitment to myself to record several abuse stories during April, Child Abuse Prevention Month. After working with abuse survivors to write their memoirs, I've become an advocate for abuse awareness and prevention. Please don't look the other way. Without awareness, there is no prevention. Thank you for watching.